Attention viewer, you are watching the world's biggest monster truck diecast YouTube channel. This is Monster Jam OCD.
Well, welcome everyone back to the Monster Truck Collecting Podcast. I am joined here again with Phil and our special guest for the second time now, Taneon Rood, to discuss the 2004 year of Hot Wheels Monster Jam. Now, unfortunately, due to an injury on his right hand, Phil won't be doing the screen share today, but I will gladly take that over for him. Phil, if you want to just give that brief story one more time for our viewers.
Well, as you can tell, I'm in a different location. I got a little bit of travels on my schedule here. I had a wood box in my suitcase, and I forgot it was there. And so when I went to pound the zipper close on the suitcase, I hit a wood box. And so now I have a lovely huge right fist. So that's why if anyone's got messages from me today, they don't sound quite right because I'm doing voice to text. So
That's all right. That's all right, Pancake. All right, here we go, Pancake Hands. The person that told me to say that's watching is probably laughing. So anyway, today we're doing the Brian Z. Patton website. Again, if you guys have not heard of Brian Z. Patton or have not heard of the podcast till this episode, we use this as our archive website for all things Monster Truck Diecast related. Of course, off of the collector, Brian Z. Patton, who will be joining us on the podcast, I believe, for episode 10. So sometime in December, you guys will be able to see Brian, ask him questions, and open Q&A. So that's an exciting announcement we have gotten from Brian. And today, again, we're joined with Taneon, who has some special information on 2004, specifically for the employee trucks, but we'll get to that at the later half of this podcast. So I just want to welcome everyone. Yes, for the people who notice, I am wearing my BKT crew shirt today instead, just to change it up a bit for the start of episode 6. So 2004, a very interesting year. Phil and Taneon, if you agree, this is the pivoting point for Hot Wheels Monster Jam, and what will come after this year will be the standard for the rest of the entire line. So if we recall the last couple of years from 2000 to 2004, the start of it, we've been using what we call the small hubs. And these are obviously all small hubs here, but also during 2004, we are introduced to a new style of the rims and tires, which we eventually will dub the big hubs, or as Brian lists here, the large wheels, but more commonly known as the big hubs and the small hubs. So this is the introductory year to the new style rims and tires, and it will be the end of the small hubs. Now, the small hubs will take up roughly half of the lineup for the year. And then again, as you can see here, we have a little more than half more of the year in the big hubs. So it's kind of a weird year.
yeah.
Exactly. And as we come to it for Taneon's discussion later, the birthday truck, employee truck, also got that annoying switchover. So we have twice the rarity in the employee trucks, and then of course we have some play sets to talk about. So we're going to start here with the misnumbered system. They didn't do a great job numbering this year. So number 3, we're starting with the Monster Mutt. This is the first time we're seeing the Monster Mutt model. As Phil and I have discussed a couple episodes back, the Hulk model was similar to the Mercury Mutt style body for the Monster Mutt. So we're seeing now an officially tailored Monster Mutt body for this truck. So this is the introduction to this truck. There's 2 variations also of this year. Phil and Ken, if you want to interject at any point, I'll stop talking. But Phil, I know you want to talk about probably the card, as you can see here.
Yeah, this card is such a goofball, and I know probably one of the biggest questions is why was there such a changeover from small to big?
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know if we know the answer to that. And so we get this very weird small hub line where the numbers don't make any sense and the trucks are just kind of everywhere. And
Yeah.
so I look at this first Monster Mutt here. This is not bad for our first Monster Mutt.
Yeah.
The render is what it is. This is the debut, the truck debuted a year before. If you want to hear the story on how Monster Mutt came to be, check some of our past episodes in the archive. But no, this is actually probably full disclosure, we're going to talk about 3 Monster Mutts here tonight. This is probably the better of the 3. It's got the full textures. Those gray rims I know a lot of people know and love. You'll see them more here. Yeah, it's 2004 is a great mystery, and of course we're going to start it with number 3, not 1 or 2. And
Yep.
we'll talk about codes later. The numbers just still don't make any sense, even when you factor in codes.
Yeah. So as we can see here, this card now has this kind of orange explosion on the side. The gray Monster Jam logo is now being used, as we dub it, the official Monster Truck Series Monster Jam logo. We did see the introduction of that logo last episode with a couple very rare variations, such as the Team Men's and the Little Miss Dangerous. I think Backdraft and Shark Creek also had, Great Bite also had those variants in the logos, but this year, you're going to see this gray logo used for the rest of the series up until I think like 2011 or something, or 2010. Yeah. So this is the new logo, the new Hot Wheels logo. They kind of changed it up a bit too. This is the Monster Mutt #1 model, or number 3 in this case for the numbers of the card. But I agree with Phil. This Monster Mutt model wasn't bad for its time until Mattel came back and fixed it up for the Junkyard Dog release. But for its initial release with these plastic parts attached to it, I think it was a pretty fair edition of Monster Mutt. Now, I'm sure if we talk in the future, if Spin Master ever does this again, I'm sure we'll see a far different style in terms of how they execute it. But for the time period of 2004, the way they did execute this with this post in the middle, holding in the ears, I think that was pretty good. Nowadays, they do, specifically Spin Master will put the plastic or the rubber underneath and heat press it out of the casting. So you don't have to do this interference with the post. But this is the very interesting variation as well, or actually not the interesting one, but the official good-looking one. This is the hair, I guess you just call it the hair Monster Mutt. As we'll see in a moment, there's going to be one without hair on it, but it also has a tongue here. And the only complaint I do have about this, and I will talk about it in years to come as we go on, this Mercury Mutt casting wasn't perfectly accurate. They didn't have the headlights here, the casting for that, but the 124 scale will eventually get it, but the 164 will never have it until Junkyard Dog. So that's the first Monster Mutt, and then we'll jump into the second one, which is the hairless edition, often called for some reason the Mustard Monster Mutt. So you can see here it has kind of a mustardy color paint job, I guess you would say, without the hair, but for some reason the hair is just on the hood. So I don't know if it was because of decal wrapping or technology at the time, but they didn't have it completely down until they released the second edition. So there it is, the hairless Monster Mutt, the hair full Monster Mutt.
Why would you even want this hairless one? I mean, I would say this is more tour accurate until you get to the hood and realize you have like 2 paint schemes blended into one. Like if I was going to add this, I'd be like, somebody forgot to, finish the drawing.
I agree. It is semi-tour accurate, yes. Obviously, the Monster Mutt paint scheme wasn't highly detailed when it first was debuted, but yes, the hood there with the hair on there makes it kind of an interesting combination of the two. If it didn't have that hood, somehow the fur on the hood. Hold on, Tanya. I'm getting a little bit of interference from your mic, so I'm going to mute this for a second. There we go. Okay, perfect. The hood there, I think if they didn't have that, it would be what I would, like you said, Phil, I would also consider a tour accurate edition of Monster Mutt. But obviously we have kind of a combination. So it was a weird thing. I'm not sure what they were going for. They might have just been going for how the truck looked, but it didn't turn out well. So I'm glad they did fix that eventually. Actually, Tanya, if you have anything to add to this Monster Mutt discussion, go ahead. Feel free.
This was one of the first variants that was really sought after in the community. I mean, not many people really knew about it till much later, me personally as well. As I was younger, I didn't really know about this Monster Mutt, but it's definitely pretty neat. Just like I said, one of the few variants to start out with. There wasn't really many variants in the Small Hub series in general, so this is one of the more odd ones, and it's pretty cool if you're a variant collector to have this one.
I agree. I do remember it. I at least recall it being on eBay as a rare variation as well, and it technically still is. Not super common. It might have been corrected sooner than later. It's funny when we look back at the last episode that we did for Hot Wheels when we talked about the severed variation of American Guardian, how frequently seen that one was compared to this edition of Monster Mutt. So it's kind of a weird deal. But yes, it was corrected, and I think that it is one of our original rare variations that doesn't get a lot of credit. People kind of often forget this one because it's overshadowed by the others of this specific year as well. So yes, I totally agree with that. So next up on this list here is for some reason 6. I have to mute my notifications. Number 6, Cyborg, which I think, Phil, we saw last time.
We first saw Cyborg in 2003. This should be the same exact truck, just gets another shot here in 2004.
Yeah, let me take off my watch so it stops notifying me. So Cyborg is back again. As you can see, the same rendering that we saw last time, or maybe a different one, but still that kind of odd render. The truck, again, never ran this specific, like, super detailed.
Not as detailed. Jack got close, but not at this level.
Yeah. So they're continuing on with this, I'm sure, very expensive casting, which uses both metal casting work and plastic and rubber casting work, which is really cool for the time period. Very unique in the way they executed it. So I do give them props for that. But it's one of our first repeats of this year that you'll see. And you will see it again in the Big Hubs, which I believe it's the Big Hub variation or Big Hub edition that has a variation of the Monster Jam logo, which will either be this repeated from last year. So they're just using the productions from last year. Yellow Monster Jam logo, that'll actually make it onto the Big Hub. And then you'll see a gray logo. I don't think Brian has those listed, but I have them if I need to grab them. So, Taneon, if you want to talk about Cyborg, because we talked about last time, if you want to add to it, feel free. If not, we can.
Yeah, I'll add a little bit. I just think that it's a really cool concept. Definitely one of my more favorite trucks that Hot Wheels has ever done. That's really all I have to say, though.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very unique casting, very, I'm sure, expensive, like I said before, casting for the early years of Hot Wheels. I believe Phil is also, I'm using Phil as kind of my guide here because I don't remember from last episode. I think it's the first time we're seeing Pure Adrenaline as well.
Yes, this is our first Pure Adrenaline toy.
Okay, cool. So Pure Adrenaline is number 6. Did we just talk about number 6? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so there we go. Number
I
6.
like to think they put all the numbers on ping pong balls, like at bingo at the casino, and they just started pulling numbers. But they would keep putting the ping pong balls back in. That's they got the same number.
So number 6, part 2, Pure Adrenaline. Our first release of this truck, a very nice independent truck to have in toy form. To my knowledge, as you can see on the rendering there, it looks pretty close to how the real truck looked. The paint color might just be the difference. That looks a little purple to me in the real photo, but the graphics look pretty accurate. So it's nice to have this. As you can see, it's during the original years, so we have white paint here, and then they kind of translate it over with blue paint. So it's very clean. The graphics are very crisp, of course, because we're in 2004. And the tailgate here, Phil, if you know what any of these sponsors are.
I can't see. It's probably whatever downtown Randy Brown signed up for his Pure Adrenaline. Whatever we've got.
So unknown sponsors. We have the Ford tooling still being used here. And then I have to give them credit every time I see a nice paint color. Very nice metallic deep sea blue paint color for this Pure Adrenaline. And I do like the addition of the white rims, even though the truck, as you can see, had the gray rims. So Phil or Taneon, if you have anything else for this one, please feel free.
Yeah, no, this is it's nice to see new trucks, even in the bizarre small wheel segment. Randy Brown is a veteran at this point. He's a Gravedigger driver at this time period too, but Pure Adrenaline is his truck. It makes too much sense not to have Pure Adrenaline in the line. Maybe could have been one you could have bargained for a year or so earlier, but we get it here now, and it's a simple scheme, but it's not hard to mess it up, and they got it right here.
I'll echo what Phil said. Really basic theme of a truck, but also one of the most iconic trucks of all time if you're a monster truck fan. Definitely glad that they added it into the Small Hub series.
I agree with both of you guys on that one. So there is Pure Adrenaline. I believe we're going to see that again this year, or I'm sure next year. I know it comes back in Big Hub. But now moving on to number 7 of 3 number 7s. The first number 7, the first release, I believe, of the Batmobile. I don't think it has been out yet. So this is our next superhero introduction truck. As you can see, the rendering there is a pretty decent rendering, actually, for what it is. So there it is there with the, of course, Batman insert pieces for the rims. And you'll notice, for the fans who, like me, have OCD, you're probably a little upset at the fact that they keep packaging things backwards for no reason at all. The superheroes this year are packaged backwards. So you can see here's our Batmobile. Before it was officially dubbed Batman, it was called the Batmobile. And this is the original paint scheme. So it's pretty nice. They have some silver paint going on, the red windshield, a matte clear coat. I believe this is one, if not the first, matte clear coat introductions to the line. And we also have the insert pieces here, actually not insert pieces, but full rim castings of the Batman symbol. So you won't, I don't believe you'll ever see them do this again, except for this year with the two, the small hub and the big hub. So I don't know why they decided to make it special for Batman, but they did choose to do that. It's actually really nice. They did fill it in with the Batman symbol. And as you can see, it has just some nice 3D details. So it's a very cool sculpt of this Batman, the Batmobile car and their introduction into Monster Jam. I believe the real truck was pretty close to this. I can't recall what it looks like now.
Yeah, you know, the real truck was close to this. It's probably a good hybrid between what the toy looks like here and what that render looks like on the package.
Yeah.
What's a pretty interesting flex with the Batmobile, this toy came out 2 years before the truck started running.
Oh, wow.
So, they were in deep negotiations with DC Comics where it's like, okay, we're going to make Batman and Superman into real-life trucks. This is kind of what they're going to look like. Why don't you go out and make them toys? Now, bodies like this, they're just so out of the ordinary. It's not a pickup truck. So Superman made the competition in 2005, but Batman had another year to work on that mold, so that way it was good to go and ready for full-time competition in 2006.
Yeah. So like I said, I was recalling what the more modern, before it retired Batman looked like, so I couldn't really remember what this one looked like, but I knew it was kind of similar to this, and it did have the flames that came out of the back, the flamethrower on the back too, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's Batman. Tanya, if you have anything to say about this one too, kind of one of the originals of the superheroes here.
I don't really have much to add, but definitely really cool that they were able to add it, especially a few years before that truck started officially running. I think that it's a cool piece of trivia that Phil shared with us there.
Yes, and we will actually come to an original rendering of Batman at the end of the episode, as well as Superman, which you'll see in a moment here. So stay tuned for that. And for our listeners in the future who are listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, feel free to jump on YouTube, Monster Mostly YouTube, and check it out so you can see those pictures, because those are going to be, I believe one of them is the first time in the public eye. So next up, number 2 of the number 7 series, we have the Destroyer, a new independent joining the team here. And I've talked to other collectors about this before. I wish they would have introduced Destroyer sooner to the 1/64 scale. We were going to receive the first original blue paint scheme in the Rev Treads, which did not happen, but we did receive the less detailed red edition in the Rev Treads as well. So if we look at this, I really wish they would have gone back and done that original red before they did the more modern Destroyer. But for what it is, it's actually perfectly accurate to what the real truck looked like. I mean, the casting maybe not perfect, but the decals, the colors, everything to do with it in terms of trying to make it accurate to a real life independent, it's perfect. So this Destroyer really did start strong, and you can see it has Dan Evans' name on the side and the flame pattern. So it's a very nice, again, addition to the line, the independent line, and I do enjoy this truck. It's one of the originals, one of the original independents that I remember knowing by heart when I was just 7 or 8. So there is Destroyer. Again, I wish they would have done that original one, but we didn't get that luxury in the 1/64 scale. So Phil, if you have anything to add on Destroyer, please feel free.
I feel like if you told like a normal person like what a monster truck is supposed to look like, it's Destroyer. It's called Destroyer. It's like, my truck's going to be called Destroyer, and it's going to have flames on the side of it. It's like, you can't screw that up. And Airman Dan got it right. He ran the scheme for so many years. And you'll see in so many different toy forms, it really doesn't change until he gets a radical new scheme towards the later run where he owns the truck. So this is just like your stereotypical monster truck. And
yeah,
the toy's perfect.
And Tanny, if you have anything else to add as well.
Nothing to really add.
Okay. Yeah. So again, like Phil said, one of the original independents here, like I also mentioned, it is, or like Phil mentioned, and I agree with Phil, it is the stereotypical monster truck. This really would be one of the ones that I would show someone, or they would probably show me if I said, pull up a monster truck photo. It'd either be probably Gravedigger, Bigfoot, or Destroyer. So yes, Destroyer, really awesome, one of the classics, and hard to overlook really because it's so prevalent in this line. From this point moving forward, you're going to see it a lot. So Again, there it is on the Chevy casting, number 7 or number 2 of the 7s. And then the third number 7, another introduction of a new casting. This is the Taz. And I believe, Phil, are we a couple of years before the real truck, or is this the debut?
Yeah, I don't think we see Taz until 2006 either. So this is another call that we got the design. Let's do something with it, but it's going to take some time to get Taz on the circuit.
Yeah. So as you can see here, I'm noticing the rendering. So this is the original rendering. Looks like their 3D team probably did it. So you can see the rendering here has a yellow Monstrum logo. For the collectors out there who are sweating, thinking they are missing something, there is no known yellow logo in the public eye. So don't worry about that one. I thought the same thing if you were thinking that as a variation collector. There is no known Taz variation. So as you can see, the rendering is pretty cool, solid on terms of the 3D casting. It is the pretty, I mean, I would give it a fair rating in terms of accuracy, what the real life truck looked like. There could have been some sharper details in terms of casting work. This weird kind of smile thing that the Taz has here was not a real feature of the truck. I don't believe, at least. So, you know, for what the technology was at the time, talking about 3D casting, I think it's a fair casting. But if they came back and did it in the modern age, I definitely would have liked to see some tune-ups to this original casting. But you can see there's the logo, there's Hot Wheels logo, Monster Jam logo, Tasmanian Devil on the tailgate, the front here. And these are all different paint colors, which is also really nice. So we have actually 4 paint colors, black, white, beige, and this dark brown. So it's very, very interesting to see this casting come out so early before the truck comes out in real life, piloted by Adam Anderson. But there is the Taz model, number 1 of 2. You're going to see this episode. Phil, if you have anything else to add on this, and Taneon as well.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a random story. When I was in school, before I was even in the monster trucks, like some girl in my class had this Taz toy, and I was like, "Well, what is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's Taz." It's like, where did you get this?
Yeah,
she said Claire's.
Oh,
like the store where like you go get your ears pierced.
Oh, you know what? Actually, Phil, I did get an Avenger, the one with the Bel Air casting with the blue detail page. I got that at Claire's when my sister was going there back in 2009 or 10 or whatever it was. For some reason, they had it in stock. Yeah. So I when you said that name, I was like, that sounds really familiar. I was confirming it was the earring store. Yes, I did get Avenger from there. That's funny. I don't know why they would have Monster.
Yep. So yeah, whenever I get to see Taz, especially this version, I'm just like Claire's. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That brought back a memory I did not know I would remember. Tan, you have anything to add to this one? Go ahead.
Yeah, who would have ever thought that we could find trucks at Claire's? But there's a minor inaccuracy here on Taz, but I wouldn't really let that overshadow the truck completely.
Yeah,
they did really well on this truck. I wouldn't really criticize them too much for it.
And I misspoke. I forgot that Charlie Pocket did debut Taz. Eventually, obviously, piloted by mainly Adam Anderson. Thank you, Kyle Knickerbocker, for that.
Arizona.
So next up on our list, we're finally leaving number 7, and we're moving on to number 9, for whatever reason that is. The Great Bite Monster Truck. So we're seeing it one more time. This new shark casting, very nice colors. I talked about it last episode. I believe it was last episode that debuted. It had a variation, as you can see in the card here. This yellow Monstrum logo is a variation that you can find with this truck. And number 9 here on the card. So here it is, packaged backwards yet again. I think it was actually packaged backwards in 2003 as well. Again, I have no idea why they did it this way. People ask me constantly when they send me photos, they say, is this an error? I say no, and they say, well, why did they package it backwards? I couldn't tell you. I don't know why. And they don't do it after this year, after the small hub section of this.
Didn't maybe the bubble with like you got the fin and the bat wing would it be piercing if it was facing the other way?
I don't think so.
Although I think they do it with like mind blower and stuff. So I mean that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no. I was gonna say it should be the same. Should be the same geometry.
It's like when we first got a Mohawk Warrior, it wasn't on the typical base because of the Mohawk.
Yes, that's true as well.
I don't know. Maybe that's what I've always told myself, but then I contradict myself.
In this case, I don't think it's interfering because the geometry would be the same if you flipped it either way. The bubble's the same.
I wasn't good at math.
Yeah, I'm not either. But just looking at this, I don't think it would be such an issue. But maybe, who knows? You can keep trying to justify what they did with this, but I don't think there's ever going to be a real answer. I think it was just maybe for purposes of changing things up. So anyway, here's a Great Bite. I almost keep calling it Shark Creek. Great Bite, the original Shark monster truck. And actually, I never read this on the hood here. You're going to need a bigger truck. Okay, that's a great pun off of the Jaws movie. So, Phil, since we did discuss this last time, I don't think there's much else to discuss. But if Taneon, if you want to chime in on the Great Bite, since you we're in episode whatever it was 4, please feel free.
Not really much to say about it. Like you said, they recreated this truck many times throughout the years. They made it Shark Shock, Shark Reek, and many others, as they did the Hot Wheels monster truck line with the Tiger Shark as well. A really cool concept, but I honestly feel like the better shark is Megalodon. But that's just my opinion.
No, that's a great opinion. I think I agree. Although I do love the colors of this one with the silver on the belly and the top being a dark blue. But yes, Megalodon eventually was probably the better casting in terms of what came to be of a shark truck. So yes, the Great Bite, very nice. Number 9 of this series. I'm not sure if we get another number 9. We do not. Good. Okay, so next up is the Expelled model. My favorite of the bust castings that they'll do for this short bust casting. I don't believe it was ever meant to be a real truck. Phil might have a different opinion of that or information, but you can see it is a rendering what looks like Surf Monster to me. They just re-rendered to be Expelled. Just an awesome idea. I love the name, especially just in general. It's a perfect theme for this bust casting. And as you can see, it's very detailed. It's got the Monster logo, Expelled up there, red windshield. I remember getting this truck for Christmas, maybe 2011, I want to say, 2012, a long time ago. But it was the highlight of Christmas because I was asking for it forever. Dad didn't want to pay the eBay prices, but eventually did. It was like $30 at the time. So that was a very fun Christmas to get this truck. I really enjoy this truck in my collection. It's one of my favorites of the series of the small hubs. So there's Expelled, and Taneon and Phil, if you have anything to add as well, feel free. I'm going to grab actually a picture of the red Expelled if I can find it.
Yes, that's what I was just about to talk about. There's a goofy red Expelled picture out there that I'm about like 96% sure that it's just some goofy, horrible editing that like some website did 15 years ago. But it's out there and it's in the known. There's also another weird Expelled story that we'll talk about on a future episode when we talk about some goofy playset. But I agree. Actually, I kind of agree with you here. This is maybe my favorite out of this bus casting. You know, they had to make the casting for when they did all the Jack Coburn ride trucks in 2003, the Monster Bus and the Surf Monster. So they got the tool. They put their twist on it. There's a yellow school bus in the line now, and the kids go home happy.
Fair enough. Taneon, if you have anything else.
Really cool concept to make a school bus into a monster truck. That's really all I have to say. I got this truck Christmas 2009, so I also got it during Christmas as well. One of my favorite trucks. My eyes definitely lit up when I got it.
Yeah, it's a Christmas favorite, now we know. Someone asked Luis Ruiz, Phil, if you want to answer while I try to find this rendering for that question about the
bus truck. No, just like I said, in 2003, there was 2 other buses. They were based off of ride trucks from Jack Coburn, Monster Truck Hall of Famer. The Surf Monster and the Monster Bus. The Surf Monster had a little bit of Hot Wheels design twist to it to just make it pop a little more. And the Monster Bus was a straight design rip off of Jack's truck. There was no other school buses made at that point. And then you'll see this body Expelled. You don't see this casting again until 2010, and then that's it. And then then obviously Higher Education is a real life school bus truck. So we have a whole bunch of Higher Education toys over the years. And then now in the Hot Wheels Monster Trucks line, there is I think it's called Two Schooled, and that's based off of the Hot Wheels casting of their school bus that they use. So
I'm trying to find this render.
Yeah, I couldn't find it in the prelims here. So if you can't find it, just believe us that there's some goofy red Expelled out there that just does not make any sense and I don't think actually exists. But it is a interesting topic of discussion.
Okay. While we switch to the next truck, I'll continue to look as the next discussion goes on with these two guys. So Expelled number 11. And then we have our next independent, and finally going in order for the first time here. Number 12, the Devastator, recently actually sold to Aaron Basil, which was pretty cool to see. So you can see Devastator here, number 12. There's two variations of it. This one's called, I believe this is the roof decal. So you can see this detail here of these kind of light red and then this purple. I believe the logo is there every single time, but this extra decal here is the variation. So you can see this Devastator truck, very nice model. Graphics are perfect on here. I don't think there's any real complaints about that. I think the only thing I would say is that the red color was far off from the real truck.
Yes.
The real truck had kind of a light red, and I would also have given it its red roll cage if I were the one designing it. But other than that, the graphics-wise, it's perfectly done. So that's the first variation. We'll come back to that other one here. So
we'll the next one here. I would imagine that this one probably came first.
Yeah. There's no way they reissued.
We have this awkward space on the roof. Maybe we should fill in the gap. It's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So variation collectors, you got to get two Devastators. One that's like complete, and the other one that is like 90% complete.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I think Brian just mistakenly put this here. The no roof decal is the one I clicked on first, which is the roof decal. So we're a little flip-flop. I'll fix that.
But general Devastator talk, obviously that's Mark Schrader's bread and butter up until like a month or so ago. Hot Wheels designed this scheme. That's if I'm pretty like Hot Wheels designed this scheme, and this is probably maybe the most well-known Hot Wheels design that especially ran the longest. Like this scheme is still on the truck. It never got taken off the truck from 2004, maybe late 2003 it debuted. Mm-hmm. So you're talking over 15 years of this scheme running, and it's still running. And knowing the way Mark ran the truck, it's probably still one of those older bodies that are on it. He's not one to roll over or wreck the truck in an effort to pursue victory. So that's why the scheme is just so iconic, because it's still out there. And you'll see with the companion truck, the Felon, when we finally get a Felon toy, 6 years later, the Felon scheme never changed either. So like once Mark kind of got his designs, he was set. And Hot Wheels, I don't think they did the Felon one, but they did the Devastator one here. And with that loud rhino on the side, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. And Taneon, if you have anything to add to this as well. While I try to find
very iconic truck. One of my favorites, definitely. I think they did a pretty accurate job. A little bit more of a tomato red was what they went with here. I think a lighter red would have been much more appropriate, but you really can't go wrong for a first attempt at a truck.
I totally agree. Okay, unsuccessful to find that photo in this round, so we'll try it again in a moment. So now we're introduced into the next edition of the TMNT casting variation. So this is number 15. This is the Donatello. As you can see, it is a purple turtle. And I'm not sure, Phil, you might be able to fill in here at the end of this part. But no, it wasn't. Actually, now that I heard it in my mind, I'm like, that's a very funny thing. Phil might be able to fill in a moment about these color variations of the turtles, because there was two that ran and then two that didn't. But this is one of the cases where it did not run in real life, but it would have been nice to see it. So this is the Donatello, obviously the purple mask Ninja Turtle, which we actually are just now receiving again by Hot Wheels this year, next year, technically in 2021. So you can see this is the small hub edition. So you're going to see this yellow Monstrium logo on here. And I will talk about a very, very rare variation of the blue one with the big hub that will have this logo as well. But you won't see many, actually none of them, except for that one single occurrence where they'll have this yellow on the big hub. So you're seeing a small hub variation specific to this with this yellow logo. The same TMNT cast team. But the thing I love about these the most is that they actually made a variation in the paint color of every single Ninja Turtle. So you can see this one's kind of like actually a pure pea green right here, and the rims match it perfectly. I would have said to the design team at the time that this mask is too bright purple. It's more of a lavender instead of a dark purple, but it is what it is for this casting in this time period. But I do enjoy that specific variance in paint color and rim color that you're going to see for all the turtles of this episode. So here's the other views of it, and that's the Donatello. So as you can see also there on the card, Donatello with this edited photo of the purple, which never happened in real life. So Phil, if you want to talk about what happened, if you know about these color variations for the real life circuit, please feel free.
You know, in real life land, it was only the red band that you would see. Orange one ran for like a cup of coffee, but in all fairness, it could have just been the red band. Just somebody left it outside too long and it turned orange. So,
Yeah.
as far as I know, there's never been a case of there ever being all 4 colors or 4 Ninja Turtles running. I mean, that would have been kind of cool. Like, I could picture the Ninja Turtle Encore, where like all 4 turtles come romping out and they're like trying to beat up Super Shredder or something ridiculous. But Toyland, this is such an easy change just by changing the color of the plastic, let alone the extra mile to change the greens. So that's a nice touch. It's an accurate touch to what like the turtles look like in the comics and the cartoons. And that's one of the partial reasons why those Ninja Turtle trucks are still so sought after, even with the current ones that Hot Wheels monster trucks have been doing. That those turtles are still high in value, and everybody wants every one of them.
Yes, I agree. Taneon as well, if you have something to add.
Yeah, I'm going to echo what Phil said. It would have been really cool if they would have done something where all 4 of the turtles were able to run at once. Kind of like where they had this idea in like 2011 with Marvel, and they had this show they were going to do called Marvel Monster Geddon. They could have done something where they had a show just for TMNT trucks, but that never really came about.
Can I be a nerd for like 2 seconds?
Go ahead. I'm trying to find this photo.
The comment was like, it says, who drove Ninja Turtle? Well, a lot of people, but I will now give you a list of every single person that has driven the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
So the person who asked that question, thank you. You're giving me much more time to find this.
Joey Parnell, Ryan Huffaker, Aaron Basil, Pablo Huffaker, Randy Brown, Alex Blackwell, Whit Tarleton, George Bellhan, Paul Cohen, Derek Evans, Nathan Wink, John Seasock, Charles Benz, Frank Kremel, Brian Winston, Brandon Harrington, Charlie Pocket, Phil Foster, and Neil Elliott. That's 9.
I found the photo, Phil. You got it. You did it.
Very good. Now I feel happy.
Now I'm just waiting for my airdrop to work. We'll come back to the photo. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we're going to check out that photo because I've seen you guys that we can see it. Let's pull it into frame here. There it is. Okay. So it's actually a Torque Favorites pack for whatever reason. That is the mysterious red expel. You can see it's a direct copy of this layer here. It must have been done by Mattel because they would only be the ones that have access to these layers. So obviously it's an edit. It's a pure edit. The windshield color has been changed because they changed the hue of the photo.
Yeah, I doubt that there's a red expelled sitting in some prototype box, but just looking at this and just totally forgetting how ridiculous this looks. I mean, we don't see these 4-packs until 2005, but like expelled never appears in them, let alone 2 of them. Like this is just this does not make any sense. This is one of the most confusing things that I've seen ever.
Yeah, but I'm glad I found that photo because I did see it. I'm not sure where I saw it, where I found this photo, but I will put on the Monster Wiki.
.biz website that sold toys.
Yeah, but it exists. It's part of the
history. And then when you ordered
now.
this, you got like the broker instead. I don't know. You got something weird.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, there's the red expelled mystery. Back to it for number 16. So following 15 to 16 is the Michelangelo Ninja Turtle. It'll load. There we go. Okay, so this is the Michelangelo. This one, like Phil said, technically did run. We don't know if it was on purposeful or not, if it was just a faded out red headband. But either way, you can see the orange here is very bright. I do like how they did the orange. The yellow Monstrum logo is there. And the shell color, I believe, let me check actually. It looks to be different to me. Yeah, so you have a shell color variation as well as a skin tone variation. So they did do different greens on both ends. Again, the matching between the paint and the rims is perfect in this case. You don't really see that much when it comes down to it for any company. So in this certain case, they do match perfectly. And the rest of the truck is the same as the others. So Phil, if you have anything else to add to this specific turtle, because it was a real truck technically, go ahead.
I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. I agree. I think I actually like it. I liked the paint scheme more in real life with the orange, for whatever reason that is. I just think it looked better than the red. And I'll try to find a photo while Taneon, if you want to add something.
Looks like a turtle. What do you think, Taneon?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, give me 1 second, guys.
They live in a sewer and they talk with like a rat or whatever. And mask something. I'm offending Ninja Turtle fans right now. I'm so sorry, but it's. You know, it can't go wrong with those fans. Oh, why are you pulling up this inaccurate?
Because it's the only place where we can find this. Okay, So, Phil, I got to say they probably did mean to do this because that's definitely orange paint. There's no way to dispute
I'd
that.
like to think maybe somebody like pressed the wrong button on the paint sprayer, and it's like, well, it's not totally wrong.
Yeah, no, it's not. But where would they get this orange band?
It's
This
like
is
in future years, it's like when we got that yellow Max D, like one weekend and showed up and it was like burnt orange, and everyone like, what happened? It's like,
yeah.
man, put too much orange paint in this,
Yeah.
in this batch.
Although I gotta say, it does look very clean. I can't tell if this paint color is different. This green, it looks like it's a lighter shade to me.
But pretend we're not on this website. If
Yeah.
you're one of the children that runs this website, you need to learn. You guys drive me crazy.
Okay.
I don't know where you get your information. It
You
scares
know
me.
what? I think it
Talk
is a
to me.
very
I'm not doing anything.
okay,
It's a
Phil.
podcast.
Phil's ranting. The shell color, if you look here, it's like a dark brown, is definitely different. So this is definitely purposeful. The green is arguable. I think it's a little different, but the shell color is definitely different. So if we had to argue if this was a purposeful change for the real life truck,
Well,
I
if
would
you're
say yes.
colorblind, this is just a turtle running around out there. So
Yeah. Although I still got to say, out of all the turtles, because it's my favorite color, I would have liked to see the blue one, but that unfortunately never came to be. So the orange and the red did exist, and there are those two in this case. And then we have number 18, another Gravedigger with the wrong rendering compared to the real truck inside of the box. And then we have also a variation that we just found out about that existed between these two. So thanks to, I'm sure we'll see the credit in a moment, but this is the first one that was actually the one that's supposed to be out there, which is the first case of the Monster Jam logo being added to Gravedigger. So you can see right there is the Monster Jam logo variation. It's still using the same paint scheme that they've been using.
which is so absurd. It's like,
yeah, this has been a long time going.
same jacket you bought at Goodwill that your grandpa brought there from 20 years ago, and it's like, oh, let me just put a sticker on it and be like, I'm good to go. Like,
Yeah.
why? What? Why? This is the last time you see this, by the way.
It is, thankfully. So you can see there's the actual Gravedigger paint scheme that's been running for many, many, many years while this diecast truck continues to be released. So that's there, and it also has the correct Gravedigger logo. But yeah, this is the last time you're going to see this, except for this one variation here, which actually it's Leo that sent this in. So thank you to Leo for this. There is a case where that one that we're seeing the last 3 or 4 years is in this box here with the USA Today badge. But that's the only variation on it in terms of the differences between the two. So that's Gravedigger. I'm sure, Taneon, you probably don't have anything to add to this Gravedigger because it's been here for so many years. But if you do, feel free.
Gravedigger's so common that there's not really much to say about most releases of the truck. But yeah, it's a Gravedigger. I don't really have much to really say. Yeah,
and we'll come back to Gravedigger soon for a very rare variation of the small hub edition, but that's the later part of the episode. So there's Gravedigger, and now on to number 19, and Brian's only signed truck in his collection for the photos, the Maximum Destruction, which is the same exact edition from 2003. As you can see, they're still recycling the old production ones with the yellow Monster Jam logo. You will see this again with a gray Monster Jam logo in a cool 6-pack, which is has become one of the rarest sets of trucks of the Hot Wheels Monster Jam era. Also, they're still using, for whatever reason, the old Max D render with that classic logo. And as you can see, they didn't do a great job of editing it on there, but there it is. So number 19, Maximum Destruction. Again, Phil, I think we talked about this already, but Taneon, if you want to talk about Maximum Destruction, again, you can feel free to do so.
I'm not sure if you talked about it in 2003, but this truck was delayed because of 9/11, insensitivity of the name during the times, and it's definitely understandable for why they would postpone releasing the truck. Same Goldberg casting, not really much can be said. Same teammates casting. That's really all I have to add.
I just want to know why he has a signed one and he never got it.
I don't know.
It's Maximum Destruction. There he is. Next, please.
Yep. Next, Jurassic Attack is back again with the variation on the side here of the Monster Jam logo. I believe it's a variation. Actually, I need to check that because I don't know if I have that. So back to 2003 for a moment, everyone. There you are. Okay, yeah, I do need that variation. This is a USA Today badge, and the new one is a Monster Jam logo. So
anyone has a 2004 Jurassic Attack, give us a shout.
I'm going to be on the hunt now because I did not know that existed. So there's the variation of Jurassic Attack with the new Monstrum logo, and the same paint scheme applies from last time with this classic beige color for the truck, which is still my favorite of the Jurassic Attack paint schemes that have run. As you can see, there's actually a rendering of the real, or not a rendering, a picture of the real truck, which is highly accurate to, or the toy is highly accurate to the actual truck. So, Phil, I know we already talked about this truck and its history, but if Taneon wants to join in, again, you have the floor.
I was just going to say, we don't just need a Monster Jam logo of Jurassic Attack, but we also need an ornament.
Yes, this is the weekly PSA. I am looking for the Jurassic Attack Christmas ornament in large scale with all the horns and all the wheels. Christmas is pretty much here, okay? Like, you're going to start putting up your trees after Thanksgiving. Let's end the charade. Let's get Phil his Christmas ornament, and we can have a holly jolly Christmas, all right?
Hold on one second. I'm going to answer the question. Someone asked if it ever was owned by Monster Jam. It was not.
No, but Monster Jam did run the Jurassic Attack body overseas in 2008. Don Frankish went over there and ran it, and then also became a queen, and I believe Randy Brown also did as well. That's where Frankish had the save of the year, where he was like just scatting all over the track. So
yeah.
Hey, look, a new truck.
So continuing on to the next stuff. So Ninja Blade, actually, Phil, I was going to say never mind to something, but yeah, I remember them running that. I was like, that's an interesting thing. I also am seeing this, which is conflicting with what I'm trying to think about. I forgot to mention this when you were mentioning the Jurassic Attack ornament. You're not going to get off too easy with this. The fish food. If you guys find him that ornament, he's going to eat that fish food from 2000, whatever it is. So there's your incentive to help find Phil that ornament.
Please.
Anyway, that's what I was going to say never mind about, was the fish food thing. But back to Monster Truck discussion, we have number 21, which is a new concept, the only time you're ever going to see it, which is the Ninja Blade, a Hot Wheels original off of the Wolverine casting. Now, I'm not too sure why, but they cut off for the rendering the blades or the claws for the Wolverine photo. But there's the rendering of Ninja Blade, and you can see the logo is pretty cool. And actually, it's one of my favorites still. I say this a lot, but one of my favorites of the Hot Wheels originals of the era of Hot Wheels Monster Jam. I really do like this casting and the color they chose to do with it. I just like that they stepped out of the realm of kind of the continuous castings like the SUV and other things and went to this 3D casting and looked at it in a different way. I really do enjoy what they did with it. I would have actually preferred them to do maybe silver on the claws here because it matches the guy here. But yeah, it's really nice. I love this ruby red kind of paint color, maybe more of a burgundy or maroon. But you can see there's the side here with the ninja on there with the Ninja Blade and the Ninja Stars. And the back here has his face. Really cool artwork. Just an overall really awesome custom concept that many people actually, I often get this question from people asking in lots of trucks what this truck is in this Ninja Blade. So yeah, very nice addition to that originals line. So Phil and then Taneon, go ahead.
My only comment here between Ninja Blade and we'll see a couple others in the big wheels.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised they got away with doing fantasy concepts using the Marvel truck tools.
Yes, I agree with that. And Taneon, if you...
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people in the collecting community just refer to this truck as Red Wolverine, and I think that's pretty appropriate.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's its nickname. It's what's, yeah.
Yeah.
Zoom in on that render. That is such a goofball render.
Hold on, I'll get back to that for Phil.
You have Wolverine, and you go out here and you got what, Bounty Hunter or Scarlet Bandit over as the render. Why did you have to do that? Why did you have to do that?
Yeah, sorry. Someone was sending me links to the Jurassic Attack.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Next on the custom concepts of Hot Wheels era, number 23, and you're going to see this casting two more times, one time in this episode and then again. This is the 5.0, a cop car or a police car casting, our first of that series. As you can see here, the rendering is highly rendery, so it's not a real truck, or they didn't try to make it look like a real truck. They really did make it look like an illustration more so.
This looks like the kid in art class is like, I drew a monster truck.
Yeah, this one's not the best of the renderings that we've seen. And you can see the motor is highly blown out of proportion here on the render compared to the real truck, which is actually a pretty nice casting. I did enjoy this one. And at the time, I really wish they probably would have, I wish they would have done this as a real truck. I think it would have served well at the time period. And you can see it does say 5150 on there, which is code, I forget for what it's for, but it's police code here. And then we have a very nice police car theme, obviously the white on the side, the badge, the 50, the motor in the front, and the barricade. Then we have just some nice blue details on the windows and the roof here with the lights and some flames as well. So Phil, if you have anything else to add besides that rendering bashing, go ahead.
A couple things. One, I hope we have moderators here tonight. And two, the working name for this truck was actually the Law. So
the original name was the Law?
The Law. If you go back to the Monster Jam website checklist that popped up years later, this was no 50, but the Law was there. So I guess this was called the Law.
Cool. And Taneon?
All I really had to add was this truck gives me some similar vibes to the 2010 Donut Patrol that we're going to get much later from Hot Wheels.
Yes. So we'll come back to that in 2010. This is the police code here, actually. So Insane Individuals 5150 is on the side of there. So next up on the list is number 29, jumping from 23 to 29, the SUV Eradicator, my favorite of the Eradicators that will get released by Hot Wheels, which I believe there's 4 different paint schemes of it that do make it out. You can see it is not the correct actual Eradicator body. They're using the Astrovans still, but for representation of what Eradicator was at the time, very well done. So here it is with the bright neon color. We have white rims and then the Eradicator logo and the flames. Very basic, but again, very effective in making this truck, into a die-cast form. Although the casting, I wish they would have reissued this in 2005 or 2006 when they get the new casting, because it's a shame that we never got it properly. But for what it is, again, here is the Eradicator SUV. So Phil, I'm sure there's plenty to talk about with this one.
So what I always find goofy is that, you're working with what you got here. But it's like the window is bigger than the name of the truck. Like is the name of the truck Black Window? Like to me, when my eyes look, I just see that black square, and I get, because if you look at the picture of the real truck, the Durango body, the window's there. But also the name of the truck is a lot bigger. So if I had to make a compromise, I think the name of the truck is a little more important than a window. So I maybe would have even eliminated the window for the sake of this toy. It's like it's already on the wrong body. You might as well just make it as toyetic as possible. But hey, it's a great scheme though. I like it. I love it. It's loud and proud.
Yeah, and Taneon as well, if you'd like to talk about this one.
I don't really have much to add, but I do have a story behind it. Okay. It was actually the second small hub truck I ever got in my collection.
Oh, awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
So that's Eradicator, number 29. Number 34, jumping again far ahead, the Super Trucker, which is actually another ride truck that they're making into diecast form. I don't believe it ever ran that giant cover on the back, but they did make it at least in a toy form one time. Actually, twice. There's a big hub edition as well in this year. I got to say, it's actually still, of all the trucks that Hot Wheels has casted out and made from the independents, this is still in my top 10. I really like it. I'm very happy that they did make Super Trucker. I hope at one point maybe Spin Master will pick it up. I think it still exists as far as I recall as a real life ride truck. So it's a nice casting, not totally accurate, but they definitely did a great job making it look like obviously a truck. So not a monster truck, but a semi truck. So you can see here, it has the logo, the flames. The real truck appears to be, and I think it is purple, not blue, but they did blue details instead. And then we have the side here, obviously made to look like diamond plating. And then this bed cover, which if it was a real life instance or a more modern take on it, it would be the actual seats where people sit, which this would not be here. But they did add this for this release. So there is that. And Phil, I'm sure there's plenty to talk about as well for this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to know why they even made this. Okay, so like the year before was like the year of the ride truck. You got Copernicus ride trucks were in there, and Sergeant Smash got a toy. So the Super Trucker was like, all right, I want one too. But like, this is the one and only time we see this casting. It's not like this is used for Hot Wheels original, or this is something they made for a existing truck. It's like they made this specifically for Super Trucker, only for the 2004 frame, and then it goes away. So I'm pretty proud to see that truck out there. But like, why was this one made out of maybe some others that we don't see ever, or not for a couple of years? It's very more like it pops as a toy, but like it's one of those weird ones. It's like, why do we even have it?
We had it for the sake of having it at this point, so it is what it is. At least it got a release at some point. It's nice to see when they did do trucks that you won't see again. So that's that. And Taneon, if you have anything to put on this one before we move on.
All I really had to add was that it's definitely interesting that they gave ride trucks a chance to become die-cast toys.
I agree. And unfortunately, obviously, it wasn't during the time period where they could have the actual seats inside, but making those lesser-known ride trucks, like Taneon just said, into a toy form in whatever form they could was a nice thing. So I agree with the other ride trucks that we saw, the bus ones, and this one. It's just nice to see them come out, even though they didn't really serve much of a purpose at the time. It's still really cool. So on to the next one. That's number 34. Now 35, a real-life independent that still is obviously around today. Our first instance of the Bounty Hunter. And this obviously is the Astrovan tooling, which is still highly inaccurate for this body. But this is the classic Bounty Hunter paint scheme. As you can see, very detailed, lots of sponsors. So there's all that. You can run, but you can't hide, obviously, on the side there. Phil, this is actually the second instance of Bounty Hunter? Am I wrong?
I have some bad news, buddy. We saw this in 2000.
Yeah, I knew I had deja vu. Never mind. You're just seeing it again. My mind is.
Well, there she is again, boys.
As if I never was at that podcast. So there is Bounty Hunter. Since Tanny wasn't here, I'll let him have the floor if he wants to talk about Bounty Hunter. But I apologize for that one. Whoops.
Don't really have anything to add about this, other than that I wish they would have done the original Bounty Hunter, not just this type of body.
Yeah, I agree. And like we talked about, for our other sakes, I do agree with the pickup truck ones should have been priority, but here's what we got. So Bounty Hunter, and now on to 39, which is the next Superman or superhero, Superman. That is not Superman.
Well, that's American Guardian.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make much sense either, but
well, nice.
Well, here's another weird one. When the Superman truck did finally debut in 2005, the render they use in the yearbook is on Devastator. So that's even weirder. Like, it's like, why they even do this? But hey, get a good look at Superman. Before Chad Fortune takes us and brings it to prominence, you get the toy and you get a early head start.
And there's also, again, packaged backwards for whatever reason they did that. And you can see the cape here, very unique. We have the plastic cape, which will be part of this truck till its retirement, until it actually becomes Man of Steel, where it can be removed. But very good engineering here, using the Ford tooling again. And there's that front piece there in the side, or the back and then the top here. So I don't have much to add to this truck. I like it. It was a nice truck to have around. But other than that, that's my Superman talk. So, Phil, I know you just talked about it. If you have anything else.
Yeah, so the only thing we'll talk about right now is Superman. If you go to the hood, for the longest time, I think until 2011, every Superman made had those graphics on the side of the logo. Of the logo. The real truck never had those. And the toy ran with them until 2011, where they kind of redid the graphics and they added the logo onto the cape and everything. So, those little nerdy nitpicks I noticed as a kid, but this is pretty accurate.
I agree. It's pretty accurate. And then Taneon, if you have anything on that.
Yeah, I agree. It's fairly accurate.
Okay, hold on, Taneon. Your mic just like glitched out. That was like a robot. Do it again. Try it again.
Go try again.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, really accurate.
Taneon, rejoin. The mic is a little messed up there.
Okay.
Just rejoin.
Possessed, folks. Halloween was last month.
Can you hear me?
It's still like.
I can hear you, but you're scaring the children.
Oh.
Here.
It's all right. If you
fine.
want to rejoin, it's all right. We'll wait for him. Actually, while he does that, I'll show just to pivot back to what we were going to talk about before. We have something to talk about.
Taneon rejoin the stream and come back in. So completely leave and rejoin in.
Yeah.
That should hopefully solve it. So as Taneon's going to rejoin here from his trip with Possession, we're looking at original renders of Superman and Batman. This Superman one, I'm pretty sure the public hasn't really seen until now. This is some early artist sketches that were actually I received this. It was in a publication that Monster Jam distributed to the public. It's just not a lot of eyes have seen it just because of like the yearbook renders and stuff. So it's not like this is top secret. Like this is public knowledge, just not public to the internet. It's just nobody's really seen it. So here's the Superman one, and they got this render pretty accurate to what the real truck looked like. And I know if we scroll down to the Batman one, we'll show Batman.
There you are.
Batman one's drastically different. The logo is supposed to be red. That's probably the biggest change. The body ended up pretty much looking like that, maybe some small measurement changes. But the Batman one's a little more of a change. I know the Batman one's been seen over the years.
Yeah.
Superman one, there's really no change. I mean, actually, you don't even see on the hood there those extra decals that I'm talking about. So they got it. That's what the truck looked like. Batman, they had some logo changes, and they were off to the races.
Where there's a red line stripe like Hot Wheels has on the tire. I'm not sure why that was there, but that's there. So anyway, sorry. Now Tanion's back. Let's test that mic.
Tanion, you got a copy. Talk to
he's good. He's good now. Okay,
I'm good. Sorry about that. Sorry if I scarred any of you guys that are watching.
All right. If you have anything to add,
my mic was making me sound like Electro, I guess. But
it was crazy.
Really accurate casting of Superman here, guys.
Okay, so yeah, that's Superman, and that's number 39. Now 40, an independent that one of the first ones I ever saw in person, and I really missed this body. I watched it roll over when it retired, which is obviously a very expensive body. The Shocker with the 3D electric body. As you can see, this is the full graphics version, which has the tailgate filled in. You'll see another one without that in there. Just a really awesome casting, obviously based off of the Chevy tooling. So they just modified that and added these bits and pieces to it. But it was a real truck, as you can see right there. It is still a real truck, but not with this body. But it was really nice to see this one made. And it was nice to see it at Anaheim until it got destroyed that night and was an upsetting night for the driver and owner. But there is Shocker. Phil, take it away with your independent.
Yeah, Pat Gerber. You know, the crazy man.
I didn't want to be wrong. I was going to say Pat Gerber.
He'd have his crazy blue hair, but guess what? Pat's bald. So that was always a wig. But Pat's a cool guy, man. He's a tough veteran. He was brought up in the old school. Like Pat started driving, I think, when he was 16 years old, if not younger. So Pat was pretty much a veteran by the time he got into Shocker and he became the name that he is. And this body was the loudest and proudest that he had. Now, he ran a lot of different bodies through a lot of different partnerships and sponsorships that he had over the years. But this Shocker, you can't not. It's just so unique. It's like, yeah, it's obviously a modified Chevy, but it's like, what do you even call it? It's just shocking.
Phil, your pun was good, but I think mine earlier was better. Taneon, if you have anything on this one.
Or any puns.
I'm going to echo what someone said in the comment section. This is obviously like one of my favorite bodies of Shocker, probably the best Shocker ever, the most iconic one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you say Shocker, this has got to be what pops up in your head first, just because it's like, what is that?
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so Shocker, that's actually, I forgot to show the other variation. This is the partial graphics variation.
I'd imagine this one came first.
Yeah, so this one came first, blank tailgate here for that truck. So there it is, Shocker. And we're almost out of the land of small hubs until we come back for a little while at the end. This is the other edition of Monster Mutt with number 43 on the package. Again, we're back to the mustard, hairless Monster Mutt. We're not going to talk about this one, but there it is, a card variation.
Hey, you like Monster Mutt? How about a different number on the package? Cool.
and then we come to unnumbered Mind Blower. So missing number, we're already far off the list of being in order. So here's Mind Blower. We did talk about this last episode because we have to look at the rendering. There's the rendering of it. And here is the truck one more time. So we learned through a very smart person in the comments, I don't remember the name, but this is actually part of the military theme because they would use, I forgot what the explanation was. Phil, do you remember what it was? Something to do with these dogs.
Old son. All I know it's military themed and it was in the pack with all the military trucks.
Yeah, someone mentioned like it had something to do with dogs they took somewhere in the military. So if that person's watching again, it's actually this person here at D-Dominator. Please comment again because I'm going to put that back on screen. But while we wait for that,
yeah, you got it. There you go.
Yeah, if you have that, okay, Mind Dog strip. That's the very basic explanation.
I mean, there's nothing really else to say here except for you have to imagine maybe Snowhawk and Hall and Heat were supposed to randomly get another release here, but we get Mind Blower from the military K9 mine unit, and yeah, no number on it, but another chance maybe if you didn't get that 6-pack the previous year, you get a Mind Blower.
Yeah, and Taneon, this one obviously is probably one you want to talk about for the exclusive.
Yeah, this came from the Crunch Force 6-pack, as most of you guys know. I would have loved to see this truck in real life, as along the sides of, Hall and Heat, Snowhawk, Sergeant Smash. It would have been cool if they ran in real life, but obviously it wasn't meant to be. Still really cool trucks and really sought after as well.
I agree. So of the Hot Wheels Originals, again, a really nice, lesser known edition of Hot Wheels Originals. So there's the Mind Blower. And yes, we are finally now, for the main line at least, out of the small hub era and moving into what Brian calls Series 2, or what we call the last half of 2004.
Breath, folks, we have a whole nother toy line.
You guys thought you were done. Here we go with the proper numbering system now. They gave up on the small hubs. They're like, we're done. The small hubs are over. They stopped doing it correctly. But this one actually goes pretty proper. Actually, I was wrong. Never mind.
Well, the first guy was definitely like Harold in the Purple Crayon. The second guy was just like a kid who maybe forgot to cross his I's and dot his T's. I said that backwards on purpose.
So here we go. We are now joining the land of the big hubs with a brand new edition of the card. Much more plastic. Obviously, you can see the Gravedigger for whatever reasons up there. Black Stallion. They are now sitting on actual insert ramps, which will be used in many forms from this point moving forward permanently. Basically, we see all companies do it now. So insert plaques here with the names. Number 1 of 2004 is there. There's also this cutout of a cardboard piece with Monstrum logo. So they really upped the packaging. As you can see, Black Stallion, which we did see last episode, is now in big hub form, which was not appear or did not appear in the small hubs edition from this beginning half of the year, but here it is again in this form. Taneon, since you weren't here for that one, if you want anything to add or if you want to add anything for Black Stallion, go ahead.
Not really much to add, but I'm glad that they actually included this one in their large hubs. It's really good to see independent trucks getting that recognition for sure.
Yes, I agree. And that's that one. Phil, I think we already talked about Black Stallion, so if you don't want to add anything to it for the sake of time.
Not yet. Maybe later.
Okay. All right. So the Black Stallion, again, for these ones, I'm not going to grab opinions just because it's the same thing over and over again. But here's the Maximum Destruction on a big hub. It does have the new Monstrum logo.
The logo is different on the packaging. I don't know if you're going to mention that. Probably.
Oh, yes. So that is new. You're right. So there's the Maximum Destruction logo updated. But I'm not sure why the cardboard insert looks so weird here for the Monstrum logo. But
I'm sure there's not cardboard variants because it's like, oh, great.
Yeah. Actually, it appears as if there is.
Oh no. Well, yeah, but like.
Okay, we're gonna pretend like that never happened.
It's not like a Black Stallion with a white trim insert.
Yeah. See, look, there is. There is. We're not going to talk about that. There's the
Thunder, though.
Yeah, the return of Blue Thunder with the new Monstrum logo update. That's basically all we have for Blue Thunder. So we're going to run through these ones for the sake of time.
Don't get too excited, honey.
Okay, fine. I'll slow down.
Let's take a look at the hood at that Blue Thunder.
Oh, right. So the Blue Thunder will not have, in this edition, the Built for Tough logo. Thank you, Phil, for slowing me down there. We do have Blue Thunder on the hood, unlike the previous edition. So there is that change, which will change back.
I think maybe some of the rumors is maybe they were in a negotiation year with Ford Trucks, but
yeah,
it's like the original ones had Bill Ford Tough, and then for maybe the next year or so, we don't see the Ford logos. So it's kind of weird. But the Ford emblem's on that grill, so it's very weird. It's a weird variant if you're like a Blue Thunder purist. That we got some non-Ford Blue Thunders before we have a real non-Ford Blue Thunder running.
And we will see this specific paint scheme with this Monstrum logo in small hub form in the 6-pack that's coming up. So just, again, speeding through for the sake of time, that's Blue Thunder. And finally, for the first time in a very, very long time, we have an updated paint scheme for Gravedigger. And it's finally matching the card somewhat with the horizontal logo and these new, obviously, this tombstones, which weren't really prevalent on the other one, with the purple mountain ghost and that. For whatever reason, this is something I noticed as a kid, and I never unnoticed it after that point. And I think, actually, now that I think about it, it's probably because they took pictures of the truck. There is a mud spot on the haunted house here on the right side of the panel, and the other side does not have that mud spot. So I'm assuming it's from a photo. And that was used for the entirety of this truck's paint scheme this way. So if you never noticed that, you can't unsee that mud spot right there. So Phil, did you notice that one?
No. I mean, gosh, I think I'm just so excited to see this Gravedigger. I realized that they probably just threw it together.
Yeah, this is definitely a photo. You can tell by the graphics quality of the actual thing.
But there is some talk on this. The long rumors that this is a 2005 truck and a 2004 package.
Oh wow, really?
I don't know if you ever heard that, because if I don't know if Taneon was going to add that to that too. But if you go back, this is what, number 4?
Yeah, number 5.
5. Isn't the next truck number 5 the Gravedigger that actually did come out?
This one?
Yeah, is that 5 as well?
That's 5, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so Taneon, do you know about that, the 05 truck and an 04 package?
Yeah, I have one of those actually.
Yeah, that's the rumor I've always understood. Like, this is the primary Gravedigger, that second one that came out. But this one was like, at the end, they had this and they put it in 2004 package. Like, this is not very common as far as we know. Like, I know that's how I always knew about it, from like Taneon and their collection. And then I don't think too many have popped up.
Okay, cool. That's a cool rare variation then for those carded collectors who thought they got a break. So there is the new Gravedigger paint scheme. Again, if you never noticed that mud spot, I'm sorry for pointing that eyesore out, but I always noticed that. And now that Phil told me they actually did take pictures of trucks to put the graphics on, that would make a lot more sense of why that's there. So there's Gravedigger. We will see that again in a very, very, very rare variation in small hub form in the later part of the episode. And then, as Phil was saying, this is the primary Gravedigger that was released this year, which is a custom concept. We call it the Grimm Gravedigger, which has a giant illustration of Neil Vandenberg's Grimm on the side there. It also says Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger in stacked logo form. One of my favorite custom concepts of a Monster Jam truck scheme. I really hope that Spin Master will pick this one up, or in real life one day, maybe they'll put it on the Gravedigger paint scheme, because I really do think that this is actually a really cool paint scheme. Waste of what I think is one of the best, really, by Neil. So there is that. Phil, if you have anything to add for this paint scheme.
Yeah, so we see this concept a lot in the next coming years, more so as a chrome truck. Like, they would just keep pumping out the chrome with this scheme. A lot of people don't know that there was a very good chance that this was what Gravedigger was going to change to around this time frame. They wanted to change the Gravedigger scheme. I know it's the iconic scheme, but there has been changes over the years. They wanted to change it like this. For whatever reason, I don't know if there was a specific reason why this never came to life. And really, Gravedigger hasn't had any paint scheme changes, except for like special schemes, anniversary schemes. Gravedigger has been the same scheme for over 20 years now.
Yeah, I would strongly have disagreed at the time, and still would to this day, changing the paint scheme from anything but the original idea. Like the Purple Legend, Gravedigger the Legend caused controversy. So I did not know that. Yeah, if they changed this, there would have been outrage. So obviously that's why they didn't. Taneon, if you have anything else.
Yeah, I feel like Gravedigger is so iconic that it needs to keep the same scheme probably forever. And this is a pretty cool concept. I like Grimm being on it with the shovel. Definitely really cool. I like it a lot.
Yep. So there is the custom concept Grim Gravedigger, what could have potentially been the real life paint scheme switchover, but obviously was denied. Again, Neil Vandenberg's art style here, his artwork of that original concept. So there it is. And then we have, again, like I mentioned earlier, Pure Adrenaline once again in big hub form with the chrome rims.
But this is the only year you get this scheme. So
yeah,
make sure you get an 04, otherwise you're out.
And then we have Batman once again. Like I mentioned, for some reason they still did the new rim insert. So for the big hub as well, they recasted that.
You know, while we're here, let's talk about the chrome rims real quick. So the gray was always like the default color for the small rims. And then when we got to big, everything went chrome. The old theory that was always passed around from Hot Wheels is that kids like shiny objects. And the chrome identified more with the kid fan base.
Yeah.
As the years kind of went on, then they really started playing around with more of the colors, and they brought back some of the grays. But I knew from way back then is that those chromes really, like a lot of people, like I like the truck, but just the chrome. First of all, when they changed the rims to this big, people were like, "What? Why?" Like the small rim size was better, but they changed it to big. And then all the grays went to chrome. So like a lot of the purists are like, well, I like the truck, but I don't like those big chrome rims.
Yeah. So I guess we could just say like what SpongeBob once said.
Everything is chrome in the future.
Could have broke down that.
Yeah, baby. There you go.
Everything's chrome in the future. 2004, the future year. Yes, good. I forgot to mention the chrome rims. So yeah, the chrome rims are going to be a real. I don't think they look good. Personally, I think that chrome should have been used sparingly. I would consider them more of an eyesore than anything. So we're going to see them around for a while. Now we have a new independent, well, not new, but a new paint scheme of the independent King Crunch in this new Big Hub series. And it's also, Phil, we discussed this last time, trying to figure out where it's going to come into. This is the first instance, and you'll see it very, very rarely, of the window printing. So they did print on the windows for this Texas Off-Road Performance logo. And there's also this very nice, they must have taken photos of it because there's no way they recreated it, the paint scheme that he ran for a, if this is World Finals paint scheme, I think.
We ran fine. Well, no, it's not, but
maybe
he did. Yeah, David Smith had a lot of schemes. This was like the private scheme for the truck back then. This is the only year you can get this scheme, though.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm getting confused with. But definitely the airbrushing detail is too fine to be recreated by hand. Probably too crazy to do again. So I'm assuming that this is a photo that they took of the truck and replanted it onto the casting. So I really like this paint scheme, the beautiful blue color under there as well. But besides that, I'll let Taneon add anything else they want to as well.
Yeah, it's not really uncommon for them to take pictures of trucks if the artwork is just too complicated to put on an actual die cast. They did their best with this design. Definitely great by Hot Wheels. And they also did a pretty good job with the future King Crunches, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that too. So there is the King Crunch. Again, this is the return of Taz with just these big hub additions. So nothing new with that. I'm kind of just ignoring the numbering system at this point because it goes up and down in terms of where it is. So number 8, number 10. Number 10 is a fun one. We're seeing this one more time. The Surf Monster on the big hub. Unfortunately, Monster Bus did not receive the same treatment, but they did come back with Surf Monster. I'm assuming to offset the cost of making this roof rack here. So there's Surf Monster. Phil, if you had something, I heard you say something.
Nah, it's great to see Surf Monster again. Oh wait, it's down. Doesn't the base say Surf Bus?
Does it?
I don't know.
Oh, it does. I never noticed that. Yeah, it does. Surf Bus for why? I don't know. Interesting. I never noticed that before. I can't unsee that. So, Taneon, actually, you weren't here for this one. If you want to add to this as well.
Yeah, it's really interesting to point that out, Bill. I never noticed that until today. Surf Bus. That's interesting for sure. They probably didn't have enough room to put Surf Monster, so they just put Surf Bus.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it could have been for the sake of packaging.
So
there's Surf Monster. Now, I don't think... Oh, Brian does have it. Okay, so Brian has the rare edition of this truck. This is the yellow Monster Jam logo variation of the Big Hub edition. I believe it's the only Big Hub in this entire 2004 series that we know of. Actually, never mind. I'm going to backtrack on that. The Ninja Turtle is as well. But this is the yellow Monster Jam logo edition of Cyborg. There's also a gray Monster Jam logo edition of this truck, which was more common. So this one's a little harder to find. So if you find one of these loose or in the box, you found a pretty rare variation. But that Cyborg, we already talked about that one.
Why are we missing trucks on the website?
We are missing trucks, aren't we? We are
writing this down. I don't like these holes.
Ninja Turtles are missing, Phil.
What Ninja Turtles?
The blue and the red.
They made them in small?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. They're missing, and they're not here. But yes, they were all made in small hub. They were all made in big hub. Okay.
Well, feed me nails and call me Rusty.
I've never noticed that before on the website. I'll have to fix that or somehow find pictures. So here is, this is why I brought that up. This is the Big Hub edition of the Ninja Turtle. Leo? Is it Leo? Leonardo? I know I got called out for not knowing my turtles last time. Yes, it's Leonardo, because the other one's Raphael. So Leonardo, the blue Ninja Turtle, with the same paint variation as the others. So you can see they did change up the color, the rims. This is the only one that doesn't actually match perfectly with this, but you can see it as the blue mask. And while I grab something, Phil, if you want to chime in while I grab my rare variation of this, go ahead.
Well, yes. As me and Taneon look at yet another turtle here tonight, I don't know. What do you got to say about this, Taneon?
Not much, really. I mean, all turtles are pretty rare, honestly. It's pretty cool that they were able to do all 4 turtles, and it's really cool that this one made it to large hub so early.
Yes. So I want to thank my friend, I think you pronounced it Adardo, in Italy, for sending me the only one that we know of currently of this yellow Monster Jam logo Big Hub Ninja Turtle.
Hold on. We got to get you full screen here, buddy.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Put me full screen. There we go. So it's hard to see. It's a little beat up as well, but that's the yellow variation of the Big Hub blue Ninja Turtle. And I want to thank him for sending this in because I would have probably never found this again. So there is that edition. So the second only other edition of, let me bring these guys back, of the blue Big Hub Ninja Turtle. So that's that one. And again, I'm not sure why we're missing small hub Ninja Turtles. I don't know why at all. But there was a small hub variation of this with the yellow logo, similar to the other ones. So that's the Leonardo Ninja Turtle. And here is, again, 5.0 with chrome rims and big hubs. Nothing changed about it. And then we have our next edition of a Hummer body, which is Sergeant Smash, which we saw last year with the debut of the Hummer body. I'm a little worried by this because this could potentially be a variation.
I'm more worried about where does the tire?
Yeah, they also took out the tire for, again, whatever reason they did.
Well, the tire for Western Renegade, so what's the deal here?
Yeah, it looks really odd without the tire in there, but no tire for this release of the Big Hub. And obviously Sergeant Smash, again, just coming back. But that could potentially be a variation that I'm looking at, which terrifies me because I don't have that one, if it is true. Taneon, if you want anything to add to Sergeant Smash, because I know you weren't here for that one.
Not really anything to add, but it was my father and I's favorite truck probably when we were collecting Sergeant Smash and Snowhawk. We loved the Hummer bodies in general. That's probably because of Dragon Slayer being based in Utah. We were pretty biased about those Hummer bodies. Yeah. We love them. That's
a cool story. So yeah, that's the Sergeant Smash again. If you missed our last episode, Phil discovered, and I kind of noticed in subconsciously, this is the Monster Mutt logo. Or a font for the logo, and for whatever reason they used it on the Sergeant Smash. So there's that. And next up is, Phil, I'm sure you have plenty to talk about with this one, the Beware of the Junkyard Dog. And this has so much behind it. But just to talk about it briefly before we move on to the controversy and all this other stuff with it, you'll notice it's very similar to that of the Monster Mutt, the font that we just talked about. It's not the exact one, but there's reason for that. It's also a very beautiful paint color. I love this bronze, copper, actually, I guess you would say, copper metallic paint color. I've always loved this truck, this Willys paint scheme. So you can see lots of cool details. And there's the tailgate, there's the front, which has pretty good wrapping across the sides. and the hood here with that classic bulldog. So Phil, I will step out for one moment. I got to get some more water while you talk about the entire history of this truck.
Well, in case you forgot, Junkyard Dog was an original dog concept that was supposed to run in the 2002 season. Because of the September 11th attacks, they scrapped the concept and they used that body for the truck Radical Rescue. They later recycled this concept in 2003 and made Monster Mutt using the Mercury body that was made for the Incredible Hulk truck that never ran in real life. What is so curious is why are we receiving this truck as a toy in 2004? This is 2 years after this truck was supposed to be running. This is a year after Monster Mutt is already established in the circuit. So it's very curious why we even get a Junkyard Dog to begin with. And it's on, they use the Willys tooling. And this paint scheme, this brown color, is definitely not what the truck was kind of supposed to look like based off of the rendering. So it's very strange why we even see this. But because of that lore and the fact this is the one and only time we see this, this is a rare truck.
Yeah, so I'm sure I've missed the discussion of it being potentially a real truck that was canceled because of Radical Rescue, I believe. So there it is. That's the War of the Junkyard Dog. Actually, Taneon, if you have anything to talk about as well.
The story is definitely interesting behind it. It's definitely a good thing that we got the Monster Mutt instead of the Junkyard Dog truck. I think that it's much more iconic than this truck, even though there's lots of lore behind this Junkyard Dog truck. And this truck is not to be confused with the future truck that we get from Hot Wheels called Monster Mutt Junkyard Dog, in case any of you in the comments were wondering.
Yeah. It's a good callback for the future, but the fact we even get this truck in 2004 just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. We also have another release of Jurassic Attack now with the big hubs, just running through that one quickly. Same with Bounty Hunter, also big hub edition. Nice to see that one.
We don't get a big hub Scarlet Bandit with that scheme, which is a shame.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And then another new independent joining the team in the second half of the year, the Live Wire. I'm not too keen on this paint scheme, so I'm not sure if it's completely accurate. Phil, if you want to add to that.
It's fairly accurate. So this truck was based in California. Jim Leonard's was the driver. Him and his brothers were in the business. There was a team truck to this called Hot Shot, which was an orange pickup truck. And we'll talk about in a little brief. I'll talk about it now since we're here with Livewire. So this is the first chance we get to see a Livewire. This is the only more accurate Livewire we get to see. You'll see a Livewire come out the next year, and I think the year after, using a fantasy scheme. But the team truck Hot Shot never made it into a toy, and well, I'll talk about the codes real brief here. Is that there are plenty, which is such a surprise. There are plenty of holes in the 2004 line, if you couldn't tell by the numbering system. Hot Shot's definitely one that probably should have made it in. This truck was even running a Hot Wheels logo. I know it's not a very common truck. A lot of people have actually never even seen this Hot Shot truck.
I've never seen it till today either.
It was just it was a secondary truck to the primary Live Wire. But there's all reasons to believe with the holes that this is definitely one that we should have seen in 2004, as well as Live Wire.
Yeah, and then Taneon?
Yeah, I don't really have much to say, but that's a cool piece of trivia that Phil pointed out there.
Yeah. I also have to say I love the, it's very subtle, but there is a metallic kind of pearlescent finish inside this paint scheme, which is really cool. So they went creative with the paint. So that's Live Wire. And introducing Bad News Travels Fast, we will see this truck throughout the line and into Spin Master as well, with the classic red paint scheme. Still my favorite paint scheme of this truck. And you can see they also are still using the black paint and red paint instead of decal. So there's a little bit of a coverage here of the black paint. They also got a pretty decent matching up of the arm to the way it would come through the windshield. So it's pretty nice. For Bad News, Phil, go ahead.
Well, Bad News went full boogaloo. When Bruce Haney took over the truck, it was a white truck with a basic scheme, or it was a black truck with a basic scheme, then it was a white truck with a basic scheme. He gave a call to Hot Wheels, and this is another iconic scheme designed by Hot Wheels. So, of course, it gets a toy. Bruce Haney ran this scheme up until 2008, where he debuted the orange scheme. So it's a very busy scheme. especially when you compare it to what Bad News was looking like the year prior. It's like two totally different trucks.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And Taneon.
I don't really have much to add, but it's a pretty iconic design of Bad News Travels Fast, in my opinion.
Yeah. So that is Bad News for that one. And then we have the return of Gunslinger. Not much to talk about with anything different, really, at all. Of the
sponsor logos on here, like little nitpickies. I don't know.
Okay.
This is the last time we see this scheme. Am I correct? Or no, we're going to see some 4-packs the next year, but
yeah. So there's Gunslinger. Not much to discuss because we already talked about that one a couple times. This one, however, is definitely an interesting one. I actually forgot this one was on the Spider-Man tooling. So this is the Pony Express with this cool paint scheme, and you'll notice it is on the Spider-Man / what you'll see, I think, next year or this year, Steel Striker. So there it is, the cheetah body, as we discussed a couple far back now episodes ago. Phil, I'm sure there's plenty to talk about.
Yeah, this one's quite the flex. So the real Pony Express is a long time name of the sport, and the current version at this time was ran by Jeremy Ward. That's why you see the name Jeremy over the fenders there. This truck is obviously a Mustang body, so kind of creative. I don't know who was on first on this one for them to use the cheetah body as like a faux Mustang. Now this is the only Pony Express we get, so it's a one-off, but it's a very creative way, knowing that we're going to spend the money on Super Trucker, so we're not going to make a Mustang body. Here's Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, I think that's fair enough. I like Super Trucker more than the Pony Express. Sorry to Pony Express, but yeah, I think that was a better budgeting of that. So Taneon, again, if you have
I think that it's really genius that it's a Mustang as the flame in that design. Very awesome, in my opinion.
Yeah, cool. So there it is, Pony Express, the one-off truck, like most of them are in this year, one-offs. Next up is the return of the Backdraft, which we've seen before. Just a repeat of that. Again, this is probably not the best thing to put on the truck. Dial 911. Do that, but there it is. And then again, my dad's cousin actually is Troy Lee Design. So that's a truck that we always had one in the package of because of that. So we would kind of collect that for my dad. So that's Backdraft. Another new independent. I think Brian's missing a variation of it here. But here is the Equalizer. Phil, I'll let you take that away while I try to find something real quick.
Oh no! Well, if you talk about the different bodies, that'd be 2005. But
okay, never mind. 2005. I was like, we're missing something here.
Back to our programming. Go ahead.
Back to our normal programming. So lots of sponsors on here. You'll see on the back here. So we have American Flag, which is not a sponsor, but Lucas Oil. These other three, which I can't really tell what they are. Lucas Oil again here and again. And then I'm not sure what that says, but that's there too.
Hey, Mike Hawkins was a Patriot, man, and Equalizer's one of the legendary names. Zoom in on that roof.
Yeah, that's definitely a picture. That one's most certainly a picture that they took.
The real truck ran this, and let's identify our trucks here. So we'll start from the bottom. That's Goldberg. On top of that,
it's like Maximum Destruction, kind of.
Well, I think on top of that's Carolina Crusher.
Okay.
Next to that's Gravedigger.
Yep.
And on top of that, it's Bigfoot.
Oh, wow.
Hawkins Construction. Yeah, that makes sense. So that's the straight up picture taken off of Equalizer. And that was something that Hawkins ran now. Some deep cuts, especially having a faux Bigfoot on the roof. It's definitely an older picture that made it onto the toy. But it's nice to see Equalizer. It's cool to see different trucks. And Mike Hawkins took the Equalizer name to the current, to like more current times up till recently. So it's a nice truck to have.
Yep. And again, Taneon, if you
glad they made this into a 164 and that they also made it into a 124 as well.
Yes, that's true. They did. And so this is not a one-off. I was referencing one-off independence. This is definitely not. They're going to see it again with both castings, both Chevy and Ford, for whatever reason they did that for next year in 2005. But that's the end of Equalizer. I was right. This is the last time. I think it's the last time we're going to see this old cheetah body for Spider-Man. And this is the third edition of it, which is the Steel Striker. So you can see it's this new snake paint scheme, obviously Striker, a snake striking. I love that they match the eyeball to the rendering or this illustration here, which is really nice. The Monster Gym logo just looks really cool with this kind of, it's hard to tell where things are going, but this looks like the tails of the snakes kind of matching up here. Hot Wheels logo looks nice. The logo is really cool. And just overall, a very creative use of this this classic Spider-Man paint scheme. So, Phil, I'm not sure if you have anything on this one or not.
This is kind of one I think a lot of people forget.
Yeah, I often forget about Steel Striker too, and Taneon too. If you want anything else to add to that.
I believe this was only a 1-year run truck, so it's one of the rarer ones out there, for sure. One of the ones that, like Phil said, we tend to forget about, but definitely one that's unique and deserves a place of recognition in our hobby.
I agree. So yeah, that's the Steel Striker, and moving a little faster for the sake of time. We have this one, Phil. I'm sure there's plenty to talk about with this one.
Oh boy, who is it? It's made in the USA.
Medusa. Back again. So Medusa's here with its or her next paint scheme, the white, red, white, and blue paint scheme. We will see this next year with a very rare variation of this style, but for this year, we have it in the first edition. So as you can see, there it is, and there she is on the hood there with what we call the single cab variation. Again, next year you're going to see the rare edition of the extended cab variation. Go ahead, Phil, if you want to talk about that.
This is accurate as it gets, but this is the only year you can get it.
Yep.
I'm getting pressed for time here. So Phil, I'm sorry, Taneon, if you want to go ahead and say something on that one.
No, I have nothing else to add, actually.
Okay. Cool. So we'll skip through Medusa. This one is the last turtle. Again, I'm not sure why Brian is missing Ninja Turtles. I'm going to actually check his other website, which, yes, there's another website, secret website of the old forums that could potentially have those, and I'll bring that up if that's the case. But this is the red big hub. Again, matching pretty well to the rims and paint, and the differences in the paints on the top here with the red band. And it was released in the singles, the small hubs with the yellow Monster Gym logo as well. So I'm sure we don't have anything else to say on that one because we've seen some turtles. So here's an interesting one. I think we just saw Blue Thunder, but it's coming back again with a slightly different color in its logo, the baby blue now, and it also has the the Built for Tough logo on the hood again.
That's ridiculous. So why do we have the one without a Built for Tough?
And then we have again with the turquoise color being released with another for whatever reason they released it as number 33 as well. So you're seeing 3 editions of Blue Thunder this year. As we go on. So next up is also Super Trucker with the big hubs and chrome rims. So that's pretty cool. And then we have another independent, a new one, which we're going to see for years to come now, the Iron Warrior. Phil, take that one away while I find that secret website.
There she is, Iron Warrior. Now, this is around the time where Mike Vaughters got the truck from Glenn Bolin. Trey Myers would be the driver of Iron Warrior for many, many years. And with this scheme especially, this is a darker blue scheme. I know later versions of Iron Warrior that would come out, like you're talking 4 or 5 years later, will have a lighter blue scheme. So it's a pretty simple truck. It serves its purpose. It's the perfect foil with your Black Stallion and your Carpet League monster trucks. So not really too much to say about Iron Warrior, but it's a new truck that you have to have, right, Taneon?
Yeah, for sure, and I'm glad they included it alongside Black Stallion in the 2004 Large Hub series.
Yep, there's Iron Warrior.
So I was looking for Brian's old the MTA website, which is part of brianzpattern.com, but you can't access it without the actual links. He does have, for whatever reason, all of the other small hubs that were missing on that website. So I'm going to have to start pulling things over.
When are you on Thanksgiving vacation?
Huh?
When are you on Thanksgiving vacation?
I am currently.
Well, I found something for you.
I shouldn't have said anything. I should have said I'm not. So yeah, I'll start the process of pulling those photos over because we are missing huge gaps of this year, which we apologize for. So next up is a properly packaged Superman on the big hubs like Batman, so nothing really different about it. And this just kind of pops in, and we'll see it one more time in a moment. This is the first edition of the big hub or the orange paint scheme Hot Wheels. So you can see here with this new paint scheme in this line right here. And for the sake of time, we'll come back to discussion about this paint scheme and opinions and everything else when we come to the 6-pack. So that's Hot Wheels. And then 2 editions of this also, I think, still around independent. Lone Eagle.
It's like the 4th we owned Alan Pizzo team.
Yeah. So there it is, the blue edition of the truck. Very nice tailgate right there. And that's the blue one. And then we have an orange and yellow one, which didn't really make much more sense than the other one did. But there's.
Well, I'll tell you this: the real truck actually did look like both of that, because Alan would interchange the Predator and Prowler and Pounce just like Lone Eagle. So this is a perfect chassis to like slap your Predator or Prowler on.
Oh wow! I never knew that. That makes so much more sense why they released these 2. It's actually a really cool, accurate detail by Hot Wheels to do both editions of the
Other
Predator.
than those chrome rims, those are both perfectly fine, and they're great to have.
Wow, that's really cool. I never knew that. That makes so much more sense. Taneon, since this is a new truck, if you want to just add, if you have anything.
Not much to add, but I do have a story behind this one. This was actually one of the first trucks that my dad and I were looking for, specifically the Lone Eagle with chrome wheels. I just remember how stoked we were to actually find it at the time. It's pretty funny how that was what we were looking for back then, but then we started chasing those much harder pieces, and that's kind of how we got more into the hobby, is those trucks that we were chasing after.
Yeah, so that's the end of the singles main line. For sake of time, we'll just kind of run through play sets. So Crashzilla, as you can see here, it's the first Crashzilla playset. I never had one of these, so I can't tell you exactly how it functioned. I believe this had a commercial, maybe, but you can see it's pretty awesome. It comes with an exclusive, or not exclusive, but a Crash and Smash Maniac. So that's pretty cool that Don Frankish got in there on the playset, although it advertises Flash Fire and Hot Wheels. So that's a cool thing. And then we have the edition with a Crash Madness 2 DVD. So a different variation of that right there. And we also have this entire series, and we'll just look at one each, of Crash and Smash. So it's basically a truck with a die-cast metal body and plastic parts that if it's hit against something, the body kind of breaks into pieces. So it was a really cool creative stance on damaged trucks, but, you know, it's for its time period definitely functional, but I think more modern day toy companies could do a little better with better technology, but it's a really cool series. Phil and Tan, if you want to chime in on Crash Smash while we look through more photos, please be my guest.
I think it was a really great idea. They did these Crash and Smashes. Some of them look pretty funny when you smash them, but for its time, it was really, really cool. Really genius idea.
Yeah, and then we're also looking at a very interesting variation, which we do not see in the singles or ever in the 1/64 scale of this paint scheme. This is a Ford body of Destroyer. I'm assuming because they didn't want to make a Chevy tooling for this series to save money. So there's that. There's also El Toro Loco with these gold rims. I'm not sure why they chose gold rims, but gold rimmed El Toro Loco. Also, this is a funny one. So Flash Fire is here. It has this pale yellow roll cage, but that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is they have Inferno on here as the picture, but Flash Fire as the name.
Oh, that's cruel.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're so close, but not close enough. So there's Flash Fire and Inferno. And then we have Hot Wheels here and Maniac, which you just saw in that playset. And then the last one is Maximum Destruction. So there was a pretty cool series. This is the only Maximum Destruction I think I know of that has the USHRA badge in the window. So that's that. And now we move on to the final bits of our discussion, the rare trucks of this year. The first one being this awesome, this is his custom packaging of it, but this is the Bell Helmet monster truck. No real name. We just call it Bell Helmet or Bell Sport. And as you can see, this is the actual pack it came with, which was a helmet and a water bottle that was sold by Hot Wheels. So like we discussed in 2003 with the Taxi 3 monster truck, technically this is not a Monster Jam truck, but it's grandfathered into the line because it was produced under Mattel, under Hot Wheels, with the same materials during the Monster Jam era. So it is considered a Hot Wheels Monster Jam truck because of that. But realistically, no, it's not technically a Monster Jam truck, but it's still very nice to see it. So there's the packaging of this helmet. I'll pause here and let Taneon, if you had this before, let me know. because I never actually had the helmet and stuff. But if you want to go ahead and go there.
I believe I have 2 of these. I think that's a really interesting concept. The Hot Wheels was able to do this. I don't think they were able to like afford to do this with more trucks in the future, where they could have done like a helmet series with like a helmet of like the truck and the diecast. But I feel like that would have been too much work for them. But definitely a cool concept.
Yeah, it's a very nice one. I actually really like the paint scheme. It's very simple but effective. I think it's like a helmet. You know, at that time period, obviously, very simple. Kid friendly and all that stuff. So it's very nice to have this little exclusive that they don't really ever do again in this kind of form where they toss it into a box. So I believe this is the last instance of Hot Wheels doing these kind of outreaches with non-Monster Jam brand stuff. I could be wrong, but I think that is...
You're right, pretty much. The only other exceptions I can think of is when we get those wrestling trucks in 2007. Those technically weren't Monster Jam.
Yes, that is very true.
But I can't think of anything else really after this that doesn't have some sort of Monster Jam branding.
Yeah. So this is one of the final, again, the wrestling trucks, true, they are not Monster Jam brand. So this is one of the last, well, at least it is the last small hub that is the non-Monster Jam brand. Technically, when we get to these 2, that's also the same thing, but those are not public options. So this is the last of the publicly available things that we'll talk about. All of these trucks are variations specifically released in this 5-pack or 6-pack only. So we'll start with the back here. A couple of weird things. This Gravedigger logo is kind of weird. Bulldozer here missing a horn. We have Blue Thunder, Prowler, Maximum Destruction with the old rendering but the new logo, and then Hot Wheels with this interesting edit of it with just really odd. So Phil, another weird wacky render with the old Hot Wheels logo on there as well.
At least they tried, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the thing with this 5-pack, for 4 of the 6 out of this pack, they are just purely gray Monster Jam logo variations. So Maximum Destruction, not this one, not that one. Bulldozer, Blue Thunder from, as you mentioned, or as I mentioned earlier, the big hub with the gray Monster Jam logo, and then Prowler. You can't see it, but I promise you, it's on there on the tailgate where it would be the USHRA badge. It is the Monster Jam logo as well. So those are the 4 specifically just variations of the logo. And then we have 2 exclusives to this pack, which you might not even know of until this video or this podcast. Oftentimes it's the case. This is the small hub edition of the orange and blue Hot Wheels, which was never released outside this pack with these small hubs. And we talked about this last time. My dad and I went crazy trying to find this truck, and it turned out it did exist, but it didn't exist in the singles where they were advertising it. The small hub edition of the horizontal logo Gravedigger. This is the only time we're ever going to see this one. It's very, very rare. It's actually, I would argue, the rarest Gravedigger of the Hot Wheels Monster Jam era. So this is a very nice variation to have. If you have one, congratulations, you have a very rare 6-pack variation. So all of these are very valid, rare trucks, but of these 6, these 2 are the holy grails and exclusive of the pack. So that is very cool to talk about. If you have anything to add, Taneon, since Phil has stepped away, feel free to talk about this pack.
Yeah, I was just going to add that I completely forgot about this small hub Gravedigger. When I first saw it, when I came back into collecting, I thought that it was a Photoshop of some sorts, but I've definitely remembered this one since then, and I know a lot of collectors that are diehard collectors that are looking for that small hub Gravedigger and Hot Wheels. They're really hard to come by, but if you have those, just like Ryan said, you definitely have a rare piece.
Yes. And you can imagine my shock when I was going through making a list of Hot Wheels Monster Jam trucks that I was missing, and accidentally stumbled upon this, that I was missing these variants that I never knew existed. Originally, I thought these were the only 2 variants, and then we found out that these gray logos are variation specific to this pack. So it was a hunt. Actually, I never did find Prowler outside of the pack itself. Eventually, I found this pack for $30, I think, on eBay. So I bought it, replaced all of my 5 of the 6 with these new ones, and then gave the other ones out to people that needed them. But yeah, this was a shocker when it came to completing my collection. These were not easy to come by. This one I got from Canada. Actually, this one I also got from Canada. I believe this might have been even a Canadian pack. This came from Toy Tester Tom in Canada, and then the other ones kind of came from other individuals across the USA. So yes, a very fun, well, not so fun if you're a variation collector or just collector in general pack, but very rare, and if you have them again, you have a very rare set. So now we're gonna tap into the mind of Taneon for his expertise on these. These are the birthday trucks, the MBK birthday trucks. We just talked about in 2002 the MBK 1 million truck, which was given to employees. I recently actually learned, Taneon, since you weren't, or we all weren't clear on exactly how these were given out or who they were given out to. I learned through an archived somehow eBay article or eBay listing of these trucks that these were given, like you had assumed, to CEOs and higher level officials. So these were not given to all just general employees. These were given to special people for their birthdays. So we had CEOs and VPs and all those things. The higher level pay grade got you these trucks. So these are pretty limited because there's not many of those people out there. It's not like they just flooded the room with 100 VPs. These definitely are limited supply. So we'll go back to Taneon in just a moment as we look at these. The first one being, like I mentioned earlier, the small hub switchover got these as well. This is the small hub edition of, and thank you to Taneon, by the way, for trading me these. This is a small hub edition of the birthday truck, as you can see here with the white or pearl, or actually cream color rims. And this is the packaging that came in with this plastic bubble. And we have this birthday present, Happy Birthday 2004, Mattel and Hot Wheels. Here it is out of the box with the graphics, just kind of simple hand-drawn graphics, these rainbows, these little puffball guys, presents, all that good stuff. Happy birthday. And then in, I forget what the actual official language of Thailand is.
I think it's Thai.
Thai, yeah, I don't want to, I thought it was, yeah, I think it is. So anyway, whatever the main language is here, with whatever that says, actually, I don't know what it says. So if anyone actually speaks that, please let us know, because we never actually did figure out what it means. Then the hood here just says Happy Birthday, or actually MBK, Mattel Bangkok, which is their plant there, birthday, with the 2004 and the birthday cake. And then the roof here has Mattel, Hot Wheels birthday, and a rainbow kind of split into two with the MBK again. So that's that one. And then before we let Taneon take it away, this is the Big Hub edition with actually a little bit of, if you guys notice, brighter graphics and sharper on the colors. So this was obviously produced later year with the big hubs in the yellow rims instead of the white. And Brian actually has a tampo misprint here with a double up tampo. I don't believe, yeah, that's an error. So pretty cool, an error of the birthday truck, but there's that. And same graphics, just a little bit sharper and easier to see here. So there's that birthday cake and stuff. So Taneon, please take it away. You have a lot of these and you have obviously expertise in this. So please, as the last bit of our discussion here, you have the floor.
Yeah, so the birthday truck's really interesting. They made these in small hubs and large hubs, and it's extremely fitting because 2004, as most of you know, was the year that they started transition from small hubs to large hubs. So it's really cool they were able to make these employee exclusives in both of those hubs. And what I find really interesting is that even though they only gave these to CEOs and higher ups, you can find these you're more likely to find these than you are an MBK 1 millionth truck. You see way more of these out there circulating than you do the millionth truck. And I really like the design of these. Some people think that it's really ugly, but I feel like it's just a really cool concept to give the higher-ups, the employees, a truck for their birthday. And it's also really interesting because a lot of these actually get destroyed because either the employees give these to their kids or, you know, we just don't know, like, because some of them could be out there, but they get destroyed. So it makes these even more rare.
Yeah, I actually, unless you're not done, I just have one more thing to say as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I actually was looking for that expelled photo, and I came across, I should have grabbed it at the time. The last time these sold on eBay, which was actually the small hub one, which is the more frequently seen one, it was $536 that it ended at. So,
that's an expensive birthday.
It's an expensive birthday, yes. But it's just funny to see that the small hub edition of the truck, which is this one, is more frequently seen than the big hub, which is what they decided to go with, obviously, for the rest of the line. You would assume there's probably more of these than these, but these ones are rarer than that. again, thank you, Taneon, since you're here in person again for these. These would
No
have
problem.
not been possible without your
Glad I
help.
could help you. I wouldn't be able to help anybody else.
I sincerely appreciate it. And you have actually, how many was that number again?
How many do I have?
Yeah, of the birthday ones.
This year I think I had 10, and now I'm down to 6.
Oh wow, okay. So you did give some more out. That's really nice of you.
Yes.
Yeah. My birthday's in September, so.
Of course. So that is the birthday truck discussion. The last, actually, never mind. There's going to be one more employee truck in 2011, I believe, but that's a 124 scale. But of the 164 scales that we know of the employee editions, this is the last time we're going to see them. So, good riddance, because these are not easy to come by for collectors. But it was a nice little thing that they did. Again, if we find out that there's other things going on, it'll be a headache, I'm sure.
Better than Tootsie Roll Pop. The world may never know.
Yes. So that is, well, I guess we'll do this because for the sake of time, I have a little bit left. This is the card back number 1. I'm not seeing anything of too interest here.
The fact that we got like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Bustin' Loose just on there randomly.
Yeah, it looks like a reused card back from last year. Same with this one. I'm not sure if there's anything different. Oh yeah, the play sets. Okay, so they have Crashzilla on here now. Fun fact, since we're not going to actually talk about this, this Gravedigger right here is what got me into Monster Jam. This is the actual truck that my dad's friend bought us, or bought me for my birthday in 2006. That got me into Monster Jam. So without this truck, I wouldn't be here today. So this is really cool that it's on the back of the packaging. So there's that. And then this is the official card back, I would say, for the series. This appears to be a small hub card, if I'm not mistaken, but you can see all of the things here as well. So all of these new renders, they're just teasing you here with this one. This is the one from the 6-pack. And then a bunch of weird, inconsistent renderings, Monster Mutt with the Rev Treads, and then these other ones. So that is it. That is the conclusion of the 2004 series of Hot Wheels Monster Jam. Since I have a couple minutes, I'll let people open up questions because we didn't get to do them last time.
Yeah, we'll give a little preview on what's to come here. Next week, we're going back to the land of muscle machines, talking about 2004 muscle machines. That line's a little bit shorter than the 2003 run, but it's all a lot of quality trucks in there. Probably a lot more winners than all those monster trucks that were gotten a little redundant last week.
Yeah.
So we'll come back and talk about those. We're going to have a special guest correspondent with us, one of our moderators from the Monster Truck Collecting Facebook group, RJ Darrow, because he was there in the trenches when those trucks were coming out. He bought a whole bunch of them, so he's got a little more of a personal account compared to us, who just know maybe the stories and the history of them. So it'd be great to have another opinion in here, and so we'll have RJ in here with us next week. And then after that, go back into Hot Wheels 2005. Very interesting year in Hot Wheels, and that we'll maybe discuss some stuff on that before. So
good question from Kyle. Favorite truck from the small hub or big hubs? I'm going to limit it to 2004 for this discussion because there's a vast variety of both sides. I'll just start, since I'm already talking, of the 2004 series of small hubs. Definitely Expelled as my favorite. No doubt about that one as being the top one for me. And then for big hubs, I gotta go with, I really like the Super Trucker in big hubs. I like how the chrome matches the chrome. So that would be my favorite big hubs of 2004. Phil, if you have any opinions.
That small hub line in 04 just confuses me so much, where I have no good things to say about it.
Okay, what about the big hubs?
Big Hub's Junkyard Dog. I mean, that thing is
fair.
So weird. It's in, and I mean, that's one of the ones, like, I'm not a full-on collector anymore, but I made sure to get a Junkyard Dog for my collection just because it's right where it needs to be.
Yeah, it's a fun color too. Like I said, the metallic copper is really cool. And then Taneon for the small hubs and the big hubs.
I don't really have a favorite for 2004 necessarily, but for large hubs, 2004, I would probably say Sergeant Smash, but that's just because of my bias.
Yeah, well, that's a fair one too. So there's the Sergeant Smash, and that was a great question. So any others real quick?
Yeah, Big Dog Prototype.
Whoops, I meant to press this one.
I mean, I don't think I'm aware of that.
Actually, yes, I am aware of it. I think it was in a commercial one time, but it never came out. So
that's-
yeah, there was an instance where it was a prototype. I don't have a photo of it, and we should try to find that. But yeah, that's that. Wasn't the Superman casting a new casting rather than the Ford casting?
Yes. So what he's talking about is the pickup truck was the short cab Fords with the Ford emblem. This is what the pickup truck would eventually look like.
Oh, yeah.
So mid 2005. They would transition to that kind of grill. So Superman's kind of an early adapter, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's what Austin is referring to.
Yeah, that definitely should be that one.
Do the codes say anything this
Don't
year?
start the codes.
We did talk about a little bit of the codes. There are plenty of gaps in the line. There's at least like 6 known gaps. Hot Shot's probably the good one. I can probably confirm is supposed to find an appearance. Radical Rescue, I would also throw in the hat there, knowing that we randomly got Junkyard Dog. Maybe we could have randomly got a Radical Rescue on a Willys tool. But other than that, the codes really don't say anything, and there's not really anything of note like that was on a list that didn't appear. But what I can say is that I think it was the first 6 codes in the 2004 line are actually denoting the 6 new tools that came out in 2004. So a little bit of consistency there. They just kind of smushed all the new tools and coding, and then after that, they threw it in the bingo wheel, and we just kind of got random stuff.
Yeah. So with that said, I'll answer this last question because I am out of time. There was no Avenger this year. Correct on that. We'll see Avenger come back in 2005. I believe it's going to be.
Yep, and I don't think we have a year without Avenger. This is kind of a weird time where it's like you get a truck one year, maybe not the next year. Starting in 2005 and then really in 2006, we consistently start seeing trucks year after year, even if there's no changes, because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. So with that said, that will wrap up episode number 6 of our podcast. We're coming so far with this podcast, and it's been a journey up until this episode. And next episode, episode 7, like he said, we will be back in Muscle Machines land. I won't be doing much talking. I'll let RJ and Phil have a little discussion. I'll be the third wheel, but that's totally fine as well. It gives you some time to just relax. Phil, if your hand's not feeling better, I'll gladly do the website for you guys. So
well, fingers crossed. That's why I'm icing my hand right now.
Fingers crossed. Try to cross and see what happens.
If anybody's on audio feed, sorry, you're going to not get this tonight because I can't type.
That's all right. That's all right. They have it here. So with that said, I want to thank also Taneon Rood for joining us once again for this discussion. We really appreciate his input on those rare birthday trucks. And with everyone else, thank you for watching all of our hours of discussion of these toy trucks. And we wish Phil the best recovery with his hand. That will teach him not to smash suitcases in. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys next week for episode 7. And until then, this is Ryan, Phil, and Taneon signing out.